A huge week for Sheffield Wednesday. Massive cup game against Newcastle United on Saturday. Mark McGuinness, one of the standout players of this year's campaign, he was recalled to Cardiff City, but subsequently wasn't in their match day squad today, and then their managers got sacked. And then today we faced a Wycombe side that should never be underestimated, finished in the playoff final 2 years on the spin. Away from home, a really big test after the massive exertion that we... Exertion? No, it is right. I do use some big words now and again. Massive exertion against Newcastle on Saturday. Anyway, quick look at the Wednesday lineup and the Wycombe lineup. I try and be professional, but my goblets me down. So, Gareth Ainsworths side, Siricek in net. Back four, that's a bit of a surprise. I was expecting him to play three, but back four, Grimmer, Taffazoli, Jacobson and Abita. Midfield wing, obviously on loan at Wednesday of the year, and Scowen. Mehmeti, tricky little player him, Wheeler and McCleary, and Hanlon up top. Well, where else are you going to get these quality retro graphics, do you know what I mean? It's like setting your team up and kick off one, isn't it? On Amiga, joystick, one button. Changes for Wednesday after their massive game against Newcastle. I don't know if I've mentioned yet that we beat second in Premier League table Newcastle last weekend. Dawson in goal, but there were changes to back three. Obviously McGuinness is gone, so Iofa went into the centre of the back three, and there was a recall for Akin from Wales, who last played way back in October after getting injured against MK Dons. Josh Windass dropping back into midfield for Dele Bisheru, and a recall for Big Callum Paterson in the striking role. Probably bearing in mind, I think that Wycombe have got some big units in the way they go about the business. Also a recall on the right hand side. Jack Hunt has been out for ages. We know he's been badly. Nice to see him back. And Reece James in the left wing back spot. Marvin Johnson dropping down to the bench. I was really interested to see how James would get on in that role. What the big news? There hasn't been any other big news this week, has there? No, I don't just start reading that comic. Right, onto the game. Gareth Ainsworth's 545th game for Wycombe today. That is some service, that, isn't it? Especially for somebody who looks like he went to a match in 1992 and somehow got stuck in a time vortex and come out in 2023. Only wonders down tunnelling gear. Anyway, life on Mars. Anyway, onto the game. Big following from Wednesday. They all managed to find where they were sat without any bollocks. Numbers on ticket usually helps. Amazing following. I'd got it on radio and then I've watched match back tonight, and honestly, for swathes at game, that is all you can hear, and I'll come on to that later, but that is a vital thing, and I do wonder how much of that's come from Newcastle game as well as this some unbelievable unbeaten run that we're on. In fact, now we'll have a look at that now, actually, because it is really incredible. I mean, just look at this. This is Wednesday's last 22 games in all competitions. Now then, I've done these graphics myself, so think on before you fast forward. Anyway, the last defeat in there, all that way back, game 3 out of this last 22, with that Plymouth game away. And even then, if you remember that match, well on top and thoroughly deserved to win that, really. A couple of draws in there, game 11 in there with the Southampton game in the Cup, which obviously we went out on penalties, we weren't really bothered anyway. But again, for 90 minutes against the Premier League team, giving it everything. And then back to winning ways. And then, of course, game 21 there, Newcastle. 5 wins there on spin after today. I mean, it's absolutely tremendous form. 1 defeat in 22 games in all competitions for a third division side. Doing that in Cup, League Cup, in League. And that all the way back there to that Plymouth defeat. Well, we were a better team, really, and it was only them little changes at the end that probably cost us a game. And to be fair to them, their manager made 3 good subs, which... 1 defeat in 22 all competitions. we should be probably more worried about somebody coming to nick manager, about more than whether we want to keep him or not. Anyway, is it that run that suddenly got everybody coming together? Because that's a sensation that I've had of it last week, that everybody's coming together. Is it that run? Is it that Newcastle game and that fantastic atmosphere? It's probably a bit of both of those things, isn't it? Beating teams out at Premier League, unbeaten run stretching back 19 games. It's all coming together, and like I said, that were really noticeable today, especially with listening to commentary. But with the Wednesday backing, tremendous away support the boys got, but everybody getting behind team. Can we do that in next home game as well? I do think things are coming together for Wednesday, but a couple of worries that did come out of today's game. I actually thought Wycombe started pretty brightly. Obviously, they're a home team, and as I said, just in and around them bottom playoff spots there. So no mugs, player finalists twice in the last couple of years. And I thought they started quite brightly. I thought they were probably just edging it, to be fair to you. And then out of nothing, what a strike from Will VAULKS. It's absolutely fantastic. Well, just enjoy it, really. I talked the other week at Cambridge, talked the other week at Newcastle about VAULKS, the player we thought we were getting in the summer. He's really starting to show that now. Now, I'll tell you what, the form he's in at the minute, I don't think I've seen a player work as hard as he worked against Newcastle. The form he's in at the minute, if he'd been in this form before Christmas, they could have done a lot worse than take him to World Cup, because, you know, Ramsey was struggling about like an old man. And performances like this and a goal like that, the quality. I mean, he's in there for his ball winning and his energy and his ratting. But he's taking control of the ball in middle of the park, and all his starting moves off, and that ability he's got to spank them from distance, because that is a rake cannon, that. You don't stop them. And I tell you what, I had a little bit of flashback when I saw it. Just the way he nudged it in front of him, I thought, and you know, don't you? You know when they're going to hit him. Their defenders in seems, but you know, and it just reminded me. I knew we were going to hit it because he just nudged it forward, and I thought, oh, he's going to do a John Harkes here. What a spank! You don't stop them. You do not stop them. But another great performance from VAULKS. That's like 3 on spin now. I've talked about it before. When you've got to play the quality of Barry Bannon, it's very easy for teams to get over-reliant, and when Bannon was injured, I think there was a huge worry amongst a lot of people how we're going to cope without him. Well, VAULKS has really stepped up play, a different sort of player, but really stepped up, and his form's been, the last 3 games I think he's been sensational. Speaking of midfield quality, George Byers, he had a glancing header after about 10 minutes and all, George. Paterson up front working his socks off. I thought Tafazoli should have had a booking. Ball over. It's a bit of a foot race. I mean, probably not too quickest lads, but Paterson's getting there, and he's brought down. I think that should be a yellow card for Tafazoli. But Smith and Paterson are causing them some problems up front, but especially Paterson. Pato has a good chance. It's well worked. It's counter attack. Windass drives on through middle. We've talked about this most bloody weeks, haven't we? That away from home especially, he's got that pace on counter attack. Drives right up middle. Plays a little 1-2 on the right side. Flips across into the back post. Paterson's peeled away. He's done really well, and he's. Should he bury it? Some people say he should bury it. I'm not sure. He side foots it. Keeper makes a decent save. He side foots it. He tries to guide it. Should he lace it and twat? If he twats it, he probably puts it over bar from there. You know what it's like. They're difficult, aren't they? So he guides it. If he puts it a foot either side at keeper, that's 2 now. But Dawson makes a good save. I don't know it's from, because I can't make numbers out because of them half and half shirts. Numbers are white, aren't they? So it's like half at number you can see and half of it you can't. But it's a bit of a crowd scene in there. Comes inside, gets a shot away from close distance. Dawson gets down really well low, gets an arm to it. And like I say, it's just tight. It's just 1-0. You're never sure. But if it's like, let's get into a break with something to defend. I'm not, don't drop off, but at least we've got something to defend, refuel the sins and get ready for the second half. Now, just as we're approaching half time, is one of them worrying moments that it's been a fantastic week, we're on a fantastic run, transfer window's up and all, Martin's gone back, been sent back, McGuinness has been recalled back, we didn't really want to lose him, and you're just like, we're alright, as long as we can avoid injuries, we're alright. And then just before half time, somebody you really don't want to go down, George Byers goes down. Watched it back, I couldn't see out at the time, I thought, well, he's just tripped over it was. And his dad goes off pitch on a stretcher. You're thinking, oh Jesus. I've watched it back again tonight. He actually kicks the lad in front of him's foot. It's not a foul at all like that. He's trying to clear it ball and he looks like he boots lad in front of him's foot. But obviously it stretches on. And you're thinking, oh Jesus Christ, he's like 5 minutes stoppage. You're like, we can't lose him now. He's just come back. Really got things ticking, especially with Bannon being out, and you're thinking, no. Anyway, I've had a message from that lads who were down there, and he says seen him after the game, and it looks like he's just cut the top of his foot open, so which probably fits in with my theory that he kicked a bloke's boot in front of him by accident. So hopefully Byers will be alright. I don't know, I'm just going to get some of that glue that you used to have at school, get some of that on it, especially before Christmas when you weren't doing any work. Stick your hand in that glue, let it dry, just wafting it about, and then just hours peeling it off. I'm starting to realise now as I've got an older man, well, I've never had a decent job. But same as first half, I thought Wycombe came out quite strong, and first 5-10 minutes they move it ball about quite well, actually surprisingly. No offence to them, but obviously they've got a method of play. I thought they would actually play some decent football for first 5-10 after the half time. On Wednesday, just at that stage, I was just a bit worried that we weren't getting ball up front quick enough. We weren't getting up there, it weren't sticking. We've got Smith and Paterson up there, and they were just a window. And I thought, a 1-0's never enough. And I just thought, I hope we can just see the 15 minutes. Think about it in 15-minute blocks. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Let's do 15 minutes, keep it at 1-0. Let's have a stronger 15 minutes, and then again, you know what I mean? Just think about it in little blocks, lads. Let's get through this first 15 minutes. Then, because I did think they had a decent start to second half. But as the half went on, Paterson getting more and more involved. He really has had a great game. VAULKS again, fantastic game. But that second half, what really caught, as I said, listening to the game, and then I've watched full match replay tonight. Just that noise from Wednesday fans. And when things aren't going 100% your way, when teams having, I'm not saying Wednesday were bad. We had a little spell where we were giving ball away, a little bit sloppy, a little bit cheap. Not bad, but not the levels that we can do. And opposition's always going to have moments in games when they have chances and they have little spells. And when that's happening, that's when I get them fans lifting you. It makes all the difference, and it's pundits talk about it, don't they? Fans sucking ball in there and all that bollocks, but there's something in it psychologically, and honestly, you can see players just going that extra yard, and they just seem to be real togetherness. They mix things up. They put Sam VAULKS on up front. Obviously, we know what he's all about. He's an handful. He's been round block. And they start trying to find him, and they really start in with them rangy sort of diagonals from one side to the other. And actually, it's that in the last 5 minutes of the game that really does for Reece James. It's a diagonal across that way, and it drops in short actually, and he's coming in with our lad, and again, it looks an innocuous one, but the difference with this one is with the Byers one, as soon as he goes down, you knew straight away. In fact, even before he's down, his leg like swayed behind him, and you knew that was that. And you could tell he was hanging, he was moving around on the floor, and I've got an horrible feeling that's about it. In fact, Paterson sat down on floor with him chatting for a bit. And players now, Dawson, Palmer, they were straight onto the bench. So, and I really feel for the kid. I hope it's not too bad. But it was his knee, and I did notice as he were getting on stretch at physio while holding his knee with both hands, and it's a shame because he's been such a terrific player for us, really grown into the role, been brilliant at left-sided centre half, and I was really excited to see him at left wing back today, and we'll have to see what happens. I'm sure they'll have to wait for it swelling to go down and whatever else it is, but that didn't look good. Didn't look good at all. It's a little bit backs to wall. It's quite an even game actually. There's a few battles I've enjoyed. VAULKS thought were terrific again in midfield today. Buckinghamshire came on for Byers. I thought he had a mixed bag. I thought sometimes his passing was nice and crisp, but really pinging it. Sometimes it's just a bit wayward. Although he won't have been expecting to come on when he come on. That's the thing there, isn't it? You know. I thought he was better. So the last 20 minutes. But when they're chucking it at it, and it's 1-0, you know, it only takes a second to score a goal. They're chucking it at it. I thought back three really stood to be counted. Liam Palmer has been, well, he's been brilliant all season, really. Whether it's been right wing back, right side, centre half, even left sided centre half. I thought he was really good again today. And him and Ainsworth and Famayo, they were just solid at back today. I think I read a tweet or something somewhere. Somebody called them the yellow wall, and they were today. And I'm really pleased for Big Dom because, like I said, not best start to the season. He'd been out all last season. I thought he was really, really good against Newcastle. I thought that was the sort of player that we had before, and I think he's followed that up today. Played in centre of that three, and I think he's more comfortable there anyway. I know earlier in the season when he would have in that wobble, he did tend to be in wider area, but getting pulled out of position and sort of losing men with them headers. But in middle today, making blocks, winning headers, getting tackles in. Really pleased for him, looking like his old self. A lad at other side, for me, well, there were a bit of ring rust in there because there's bound to be. He's been out since I think it was October. But I like him. Looks a powerful lad. Wins an header. Brings that balance because he's got that left foot. So when we're coming out with it, he's got that left foot as well. Like I said, little bit of rust, but he's been out that long. I think he's had a couple of minutes of sub other week, didn't he? And he's had I think he had a couple of games for kids. But them three, because McGuinness has gone, and genuinely it is a worry, innit? And obviously Wednesday probably expecting VAULKS to start the game actually, so I think that's probably why for me was gone in for the start, and James has gone to left wing back because probably just thinking about that aerial side. We saw it last year, but went out there when they were arrowing balls on diagonal and trying to get him round back at Hutchinson, who's obviously not one of the biggest lads in the world again, and it's an obvious plan that they do. But obviously for me, we're up there and them starting that Anlin up front, didn't really get much joy out of it. Really good performance on Wednesday. People talk about ugly 1-0 wins. I don't think it was an horrific game. Well, most pleasing game on eye, but there were little patches in there. I just can't get out of my head that tremendous noise from away end. Absolutely fantastic there. And like I said, there's just that sense of sort of togetherness coming. With unbeaten run, with Newcastle game. And yes, there was some bollocks written about the club in the week, and has that played a part as well? I think it possibly has in galvanising the fans and bringing them all together and well, Ferguson did it for years at Man United, didn't he? I mean, biggest club in the world with unbelievable wealth and investment and everything else. And he'd have his players believing the entire world were against him and it were poor old them, you know what I mean? That siege mentality. And I think that's what it's done this week to Wednesday, actually. I think it has. It's brought everyone together and it shows. It shows. I've seen some great footage tonight, actually, of done my offer for fans singing at him at train station, so that was lovely to see. A lot of good displays. Pleased for Big Dom, looks like his old sen. For Maywo's got through that game. Like I said, bit ring rusty, but pleased with him. Palmer again, I thought very good. Dawson's made a really, really good save at 1-0, low down with his hand, although he seems to be doing that every week. Windass, obviously not scored today, he's been on that tremendous run. I thought he worked really hard today, and his pace and his drive and his energy, and even right up in the last 2 minutes he drives us right up pitch and gives us that opportunity to get up there and squeeze out. Thought he's been really busy, but it's got to be Paterson. It's really got to be Paterson. That is everything you want from a centre forward in a tricky away game. Everything you want from a centre forward. Busy in air, putting defenders under pressure, chasing things down, making it difficult, getting in box, getting his head on things, and in our box as well, by the way, when they're sticking shells in and corners in, he's in there. Just a proper old-fashioned number 9's performance, really. Head, tackle, shoulder, all over the place, getting battered and bruised and kicked all over. And I mean, he was down probably twice in the last 5 minutes where he's took a whack. And he's brave, he sticks his head in there, wet feet are flying about. Proper number 9 performance from Paterson. And yeah, he'd definitely be my man of the match. Great performance. And of course there's all this talk about him, Arts wanting him. Well, I hope he don't go. I really don't. I know a lot of people he's not their cup of tea, or maybe part of that is because nobody really knows what his best position is. But whatever his best position is, you can't get through a season without players like that. And whatever Hearts are prepared to offer for him, and he's only got 3 months left on his deal, by the way, whatever they're prepared to offer us for him won't be worth what he's worth to us on pitch. They might offer us a couple $100,000 at best. Less than that, I'd imagine. There's only 3 months left on contract. A performance like that is worth more. On road with 18, 19 games left, is it? Whatever. No. Keep Callum Paterson at least till end of the season. You've got to have players who can do that, especially, like I said, when you're away from home. His value is far more than out that Arts can offer us. Fantastic game, man at match for him. Fantastic for Wednesday. Like I said, 22 games. It's been just 1 defeat in 22. That's a tremendous run. Praise to Gaffer. I think he's got team right again. Obviously, that little swap in back 3, bringing Firmino in, not only to get him game time, because he's going to have to build himself up now. McGuinness is gone anyway. But also just thinking about the high Wycombe with set pieces. So smart thinking from Gaffer, smart performance from lads, tremendous away support from Wednesday fans, and marching on. Of course, as soon as whistles, it's like, well, what's happening down there at Portman Road? And what did happen down there was Ipswich took the lead with half an hour to go through Burns, and it looked like they were going to be playing catch-up with us and keeping things as they were, but then good news for Wednesday. 90 minutes, well, 90 plus 3 into the 97 injury time. Mumba pops up, levels for Argyle. Wednesday stretched that lead on Ipswich. Plymouth still top, 58 points. Wednesday in second on 55. Just at 3 points behind. However, Wednesday and Ipswich, however, do have those games in hand on Plymouth. Huge game at February. I think it's the 6th of February when Wednesday take on Plymouth. That becomes a huge game. Before then, Wednesday have got some games that you would be hoping they would be taking points from and keeping this run going. Fleetwood on 21st of January, then Cheltenham on 24th. Obviously, we've then got an FA Cup tie wedged in there before we play Plymouth on 4th of Feb. So, it's always a little bit take with one hand in it and give with other. Wednesday, it's like things are just coming together, and then McGuinness goes. But From Aywall comes back, you think, oh, is he going to be fit? He's had a good game. And then James, that looked a bad one. I hope he's alright. I hope Byers is alright. You know, it's alright saying it's just a gashed foot, but can't risk an infection or out like that. So hopefully some good news coming out at club with them two in the next couple of days. See what Darren Moore's going to say, but I just get a feeling just when we're on that, there's always something that chips it. But we're well placed, form team in division. And do you know what? For all that, sometimes it takes us adversity, doesn't it? Sometimes it takes you to have players injured who you really rely on other people to step to play. And I think we'll get title. Yeah, I've said it. I do. I think we'll take title.